Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video, doing European Outlook for today's second video. So as always, on a Thursday, we have a detailed look at the weather for Europe for the next week to 10 days. And I shall get on with that for you in a moment. To say that first, the video release there is our 6am UK weather forecast. I've got a 10 to 14 down with all of the regular features coming up for you later on this afternoon as well. So please like, share and subscribe on all of today's videos and content. And thank you so much everybody for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Right, okay, well let's have a look at the situation across Europe today. Been generally a mild scene in most areas. Got low pressure out in the Atlantic, high pressure ridging through central and eastern parts of Europe and generally drawing up this mild southerly flow into most places. Actually exceptional. I say mild, but that's really downplaying the extent of the warm. Exceptionally, if not maybe extraordinarily or even record-breakingly mild air wafting up the western side of Europe. We have actually got plus 15 cells iceberg here into southern parts of France and coming out of North Africa into the Med. We could almost say this is our first sort of Spanish flu maybe of the year. You know, absolutely extraordinary. Still quite cold for the upper air temperatures in the far north and northeast Europe, but nowhere near as cold as it was like a week or two back. And down the eastern side of Europe, it's a little bit cooler there, but, you know, hardly cold really anywhere with the upper air temperatures. Under the ridge, of course, a lot of dry weather, so from France all the way over to Black Sea, we see quite a bit of dry weather. We do get some thunderstorms, maybe, and some heavy showers as we come down towards Greece and Turkey. Got heavy rain, maybe thunderstorms mixed in through Spain and Portugal, push through the Bay of Biscay in towards the UK as well. Some wet weather into the southwest of England. That will become more widespread across England and Wales overnight tonight. Then some outbreaks of rain could turn St. Salm's leading edge, pushing through Denmark into southern parts of Norway and just into far south of Sweden. Some snow flurries in the far north and northeast, especially focused maybe around the Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania. And a little bit of snow into central parts of Ukraine as well. But many areas looking mainly dry under that area of high pressure today and exceptionally mild. So let's do the cold first of all though. So very cold still into the far west and northwest of Russia and into extreme north of Finland and Sweden and Norway. In the Arctic regions, the winter, of course, still remains. Generally quite cold as you come southwards into Norway as well, but milder through southern Sweden and down into Denmark. And a little bit on the chilly side, I suppose, over on the eastern side of Europe, but probably milder than average time of year. But it really is in the west of Europe, but we've got some extremely mild, if not warm, temperatures. So you see these yellow, orange colours pushing up the west side of Europe through Spain, into France, into parts of England and Wales as well. Temperatures way above average, into the mid to even upper teens Celsius in some places, into the 20s Celsius down across more southern and southwestern parts of Europe. Absolutely remarkable. Well, tomorrow, Friday, you'll see low pressure pushing in towards Scandinavia. We still keep wind up from the south across most parts of Europe. A little transient ridge building back into the west. I mean, Azores side, look at those upper air temperatures, absolutely incredibly mild across most parts of Europe, even up into Scandinavia and Nordic regions. The upper air temperatures look relatively mild through there. We've got a band of rain pushing eastwards through France into the Low Countries and Germany. A lot of that is light and patchy, but does get heavier as it moves in towards Norway. And then Sweden and also the Baltic Sea states. Of course, as it bumps into the colder air, some of it could turn to snow as well. Many central and eastern parts, many central and eastern parts of Europe looking mainly dry at the area of high pressure and becoming drier again out to the west as that ridge of high pressure starts to re-establish. The very mildest of the temperature beginning to get pushed a little bit further eastwards through Friday. So still very mild through most parts of Western Europe really, but temperature just edged down by a couple of degrees for Ireland and the UK, with the warmest of the temperatures being pushed into Germany and even into Poland as well, and down into like Hungary, Austria, those sort of areas. The Balkans looking very mild as well. Most parts of the Med looking really mild. Going to go up to the extreme north and northeast Europe to find anything particularly cold. cold yet again. Saturday, so high pressure then, that reef be getting flattened off by low pressure developing in the Atlantic, so another batch of wet windy weather coming back into Ireland and the UK, but most of France, Portugal, Spain, Low Countries, Germany, under the reach of the Azores High. Again, got low pressure into the far north and northeast Europe once again. Upper air temps looking very mild across most areas on Saturday, just a bit of a cold plunge coming southwards in towards Scandinavia and those Nordic regions with that area of low pressure. So snow here through northern parts of Finland and then down in towards Belarus as well and into the west of Russia as well. Some snow showers possible through the Baltic Sea states and some snow showers coming in towards parts of Norway as well. Otherwise, a lot of dry weather again on Saturday. Some heavy showers and thunderstorms maybe across northern parts of Africa, just pushing into the Mediterranean. And another batch of wet and windy weather heading in from the Atlantic in towards Ireland and the UK through the course of Saturday. Now, those temperatures looking remarkably mild yet again, particularly through the western side of Europe. Again, easily into the mid, if not the upper teens Celsius. The coldest temperatures are sitting here over Scandinavia and those Nordic regions once more. Sunday brings in a more of a westerly flow into western parts of Europe as the low pressure heads in towards Denmark and southern parts of Norway and Sweden. And still, a lot of high pressure from the Azores into the southern, southwestern parts of Europe and extending over towards the east side of Europe as well. The upper air temperatures looking very mild in most areas, just the far north looking quite a bit colder. And some of that cold air begins to trickle down the eastern side of Europe as well. So Belarus, Ukraine starting to look a little bit colder there with those upper air temperatures. But there's nothing, getting excited about the time of the year. And for the central, western and southern parts of Europe, again, it remains a mild or a very mild scene with those upper air temperatures. That wet windy weather from Ireland and the UK on Saturday will be through France and the Low Countries, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, and into Germany, Denmark, just pushing up in towards southern parts of Norway and Sweden as we go into, say, again, as it gets into the colder air across Sweden and Norway, we might see a little bit of snow being mixed in. Showers return to the UK and Ireland, and then many southern, central, and eastern parts of mostly dry once again. Just a few snow flurries perhaps into the far northwest of Russia. Coldest temperatures sitting over the extreme north of Europe. Otherwise, it's a mild or a very mild scene in most regions. And then that takes through into Monday. Again, high pressure from the Azores reaching into the west of Europe at the same time. A trough of low pressure sits over Scandinavia, and we still have relatively high pressure on the eastern side of Europe as well. The upper air temperatures generally looking a little bit cooler across northern and western parts of Europe on Monday. Not cold, but just edging down a little bit. The mildest upper air temperatures across more southern and southwest parts of Europe, but at the same time the cold air across Scandinavia, Nordic regions actually retreats into northwestern parts of Russia. Outbreaks of rain pushing eastwards through Germany and Poland, and as that pushes into the Baltic Sea states, some of that could turn to sleet and snow in places as well. Showers following on behind to more western parts of Europe, but many areas actually having a lot of dry weather again on Monday, and those temperatures are looking cold in extreme north and northeast Europe. Otherwise, it's a mild or a very mild scene in most areas, although through western Europe, perhaps the temperature just edges down by a degree or so. The high pressure begins to get flattened off again as we go into Tuesday. Low pressure is deepening in the Atlantic, rather ominously for those of us in Western Europe that have been under the deluge for several months now. We sort of find that the high pressure beginning to start slipping southwards in towards France, Spain, and Portugal then. Upper air temperature still looking really mild though on Tuesday across most parts of Europe. Once again, a big old warm set coming into the west. Just a little bit cooler with those upper air temperatures in the far north and northeast. The next batch of wet and windy weather is coming back in towards the UK and Ireland as well on Tuesday. Meanwhile, many northern and western regions have a lot of dry weather. Showers perhaps coming a little bit more widespread over on the eastern side of Europe, and wettish weather maybe around the Adriatic through Italy over toward the Balkans, with some heavy rain and in mountainous areas sleet and snow mixed in through there. Perhaps some showers breaking out through the central bowl of the Med as well on Tuesday. Coldest temperatures again in extreme north and northeast Europe and northwest Europe. northwest pressure. Otherwise, it's a mild scene in most areas, particularly so down across southern and southwestern regions. Turning increasingly wet and windy from the Atlantic into the west and the northwest of Europe on Wednesday. At the same time, high pressure drifting over towards the eastern side of Europe. The upper air temperatures on Wednesday remain exceptionally mild in most areas. You've got to go to extreme north of Russia to find anything particularly cold. The upper air temperatures by Wednesday. More wet, windy weather into the UK and Ireland, possibly the risk of some stormy conditions, perhaps by the middle of the week, returning to western and northwestern parts of Europe. At the same time, you also have heavy downpours through parts of Greece and Turkey, pushing up in towards Romania as well, maybe. And then in Scandinavia, well, going to be a mix of rain, sleet and snow coming through there and into Nordic regions as well. Otherwise dry from Poland down to Spain and Portugal. And the temperature on Wednesday looking generally mild again in most areas, just edging down perhaps by a degree or two through parts of northwestern Europe, but you've got to go to extreme north, like Arctic regions, to find anything notably cold with the temperature through the middle part of next week. That's Thursday, so very wet and windy conditions, then deep areas, low pressure to the north of Scotland, bringing in strong winds, heavy rain into many northern, central and western parts of Europe. Upper air temperatures starting to turn a bit colder from the Atlantic, interestingly, into western parts of Europe. The mildest upper air temperatures getting pushed further and further northwards and eastwards. Very wet and windy as well through Thursday. Heavy outbreaks of rain through France, the Low Countries, Germany, up to Denmark and in southern parts of Norway and Sweden as well. Some of that wet weather heading towards Poland. Also, the high mat, sunshine and showers, blustery showers as well into Ireland, UK and parts of France. Some of this wet weather just getting down into Spain and parts of Mediterranean as well. Most eastern parts of Europe, though, looking mostly dry as we go through into Thursday. And the temperatures on Thursday generally mild in most areas. Mildest temperatures getting squeezed further and further eastwards, actually over towards the Black Sea, for example. Still quite cold across northern and northeastern parts of Europe, but not as cold as it should be at this time of the year. And begin to cool down, turn a bit colder to the UK and Ireland as well, as we start to bring in more of a polar maritime airstream from the North Atlantic. I'll just run you on today, Tim. So this is the situation through Friday. Most parts of Europe still looking very mild with the southerly winds, wet and windy weather pushing further eastwards, cooler across the northern and western parts of Europe, and then on into the final weekend of February when another batch of wet and windy weather sweeping in from off the Atlantic, so for western parts of Europe. So yes, the unsettled weather goes on even into the last weekend of February. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. When is this deluge going to end across western parts of Europe? I don't know. Anyway, that's the European Outlook this week. If you found the forecast interesting and informative, please you like, share and subscribe. Thanks so much everybody for doing that, and we'll be back shortly with your 10 to 14 day, including all of the regular features, so come back for that in a little bit. But for the European Outlook for this week, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.